The smell of roasted turkey filled the air that Thanksgiving morning, but for one man, the aroma came not from his home, but from the open garages of others. Marcus Johnson, a 38-year-old black mechanic from Atlanta, tightened his gloves and looked at the ticking clock above his workbench. It was 8 a.m., Thanksgiving Day. Everyone else was with their families, sharing laughter and food. But Marcus was about to spend his day fixing someone else's car. He sighed and muttered to himself, "Guess Thanksgiving's gonna have to wait again." Marcus wasn't just a mechanic, he was a man who believed in helping people, even when it came at a personal cost. A widowed father of two, he had been struggling to keep his small auto shop running after the pandemic hit. He could barely make rent for his garage, and the heating system at home had broken weeks ago. Still, Marcus never turned down a call for help. That morning, as he was preparing to close the shop early, an old pickup truck pulled in. The driver was a middle-aged white man, his wife beside him, clearly distressed. The man stepped out and said, "Sir, I'm sorry to bother you today of all days. But our car broke down on the way to see our kids. Every shop's closed." Marcus smiled tiredly. "Well, mine's open, let's see what's going on." He popped the hood, and within seconds, his sharp eyes spotted the issue, a failed alternator. It wasn't an easy fix, and parts stores were closed for the holiday. He could have told them to wait until tomorrow. But when he saw the woman shivering in the passenger seat, and the disappointed look on her husband's face, Marcus made a decision. "I'll call a friend who owes me a favor," he said. "Give me a few hours." For the next 12 hours, Marcus worked non-stop. He made phone calls, drove across town to find the part, and even used his own savings to pay for it. The couple offered him money up front, but he shook his head. "You can pay me later. Just get home safe today," he said. By nightfall, the pickup roared back to life. The couple was overjoyed. The wife hugged Marcus, tears in her eyes. "You don't know what this means to us," she said. "We thought we'd be spending Thanksgiving on the side of the road." Marcus smiled. "Family comes first," he said. "Now you two go enjoy yours." They insisted again on paying, but Marcus refused. "I've been in your shoes before. Just do something kind for someone else someday." As the truck drove off into the cold night, Marcus locked up his shop. He was exhausted, hungry, and alone. His kids were spending Thanksgiving with their aunts since he had to work. As he walked home under the dim streetlights, his stomach growled, but his heart felt strangely full. The next morning, Marcus woke to the sound of his phone buzzing non-stop. Missed calls, voicemails, and text messages flooded in. Confused, he picked up one call. "Is this Marcus Johnson from Johnson Auto Repair?" a woman asked. Yes, ma'am," he said, still half asleep. "This is Channel 7 News. We'd like to talk to you about what happened yesterday." Marcus blinked. "What happened yesterday, sir? Your story's gone viral," she said. Apparently, the couple he helped had posted their experience on social media late that night. The husband, whose name was Richard Hayes, turned out to be the CEO of a major construction company, one that had government contracts all across the state. His post read, "Greater than, yesterday, on Thanksgiving, our car broke down in the middle of nowhere. Every shop was closed, except one run by a man named Marcus Johnson. He worked all day, without eating, without seeing his family, just to help two strangers. He wouldn't take a dime. If the world had more people like Marcus, it'd be a much better place." The post had over 2 million shares overnight. Thousands of people were commenting, praising Marcus's kindness. And then something even bigger happened. Richard Hayes showed up at Marcus's garage in person that afternoon. Marcus was still trying to wrap his head around all the attention when a brand new black SUV pulled up outside his dusty little shop. Out stepped Richard and his wife, carrying a few others in business suits. Cameras followed them. "Marcus," Richard called out, smiling broadly. "You didn't tell me you ran this whole place by yourself." Marcus wiped his hands on a rag, embarrassed. "It's not much, sir, but it keeps me busy." "Well, not anymore," Richard said with a grin. "Because you're about to be a very busy man." He gestured for his assistant to hand Marcus a folder. Inside was a signed contract. Richard's company wanted to partner with Marcus's shop for all their vehicle maintenance, hundreds of trucks and service vehicles. Marcus's jaw dropped. "Sir, I don't even have the space or staff for that kind of work." "Then we'll help you expand," Richard said. "Consider it an investment in good people." Before Marcus could say a word, the wife stepped forward with tears in her eyes. You gave up your Thanksgiving to help us. You reminded us what humanity looks like. So we're helping you build something better. Within a month, Marcus's small, dusty shop transformed into a state-of-the-art auto service center, Johnson & Hayes Auto Solutions. He was able to hire other mechanics from the neighborhood, many of whom had been unemployed for months. But that wasn't the end of it. Local news stations came to cover his story, and soon, a national show invited him for an interview. When the host asked him why he had chosen to help strangers instead of being with his family, Marcus said something that touched millions. Because sometimes, being there for someone else is how you give thanks. Helping others is how I celebrate what I have. Weeks later, during the grand opening of his new garage, Marcus stood before a small crowd, his 2 children beside him, beaming with pride. His daughter whispered, "Daddy, are we rich now?" Marcus chuckled and said softly, "We're rich in love, baby. That's the best kind." As he cut the ribbon, applause erupted. Reporters snapped photos, and people from all over the community lined up just to shake his hand. Among them were customers, friends, and even other mechanics who came to show respect. One older man said, "You did something rare, son. You helped people without expecting anything back, and the world noticed." Marcus smiled. It wasn't about being noticed. It was about doing what's right. Later that evening, when the crowd had gone and the shop was quiet again, Marcus sat alone on a stool, looking around. The new tools, shiny floors, and bright lights made it hard to believe this was once his old, struggling garage. On the wall hung a plaque gifted by the Hayes family. It read, "Greater than, in honor of Marcus Johnson, a man whose kindness turned a simple act of service into a legacy of hope." Tears filled his eyes. He looked up and whispered, "Thank you, Lord. I guess this is my Thanksgiving after all." Months passed, and the story of the Thanksgiving mechanic continued to inspire millions online. People started sending letters from all over the country, sharing how Marcus's actions made them want to do something good for others. He started a small charity, Wrenches for Warmth, where volunteer mechanics repaired vehicles for single mothers and low-income families for free during the holidays. "No one should have to choose between fixing their car and feeding their kids," Marcus said. The initiative grew quickly. Local churches, schools, and businesses pitched in. Soon, Marcus's charity had branches in 3 cities, helping hundreds of families every year. One Christmas Eve, as Marcus locked up the shop after another long day of volunteering, his son handed him a newspaper. On the front page was a headline, "The mechanic who gave up Thanksgiving is now changing lives nationwide." Marcus smiled and shook his head in disbelief. "All this," he whispered, "because I decided to fix one car." The next Thanksgiving, things were very different. Marcus's garage was closed for the day, for the first time in years. His children were in the kitchen, laughing as they helped set the table. The aroma of turkey, mashed potatoes, and sweet pie filled the air. Just as they sat down to eat, there was a knock at the door. Marcus opened it, and found Richard and his wife standing there, holding a warm pumpkin pie. "Thought we'd return the favor," Richard said with a grin. "You gave us a Thanksgiving to remember. We figured we'd share this one with you." Marcus stepped aside, smiling. "Come on in. There's plenty of food." As they sat around the table, laughter and stories filled the room. No cameras, no contracts, just people sharing gratitude and friendship. When his daughter asked what he was thankful for, Marcus looked around at the smiling faces and said, "For second chances, and for strangers who turn into family." Everyone raised their glasses. And for the first time in years, Marcus finally got to celebrate Thanksgiving, surrounded not by customers, but by love, gratitude, and the beautiful proof that one selfless act can change a life forever. In a world where kindness often goes unnoticed, Marcus Johnson's story reminds us that true wealth doesn't come from what we earn, it comes from what we give. Sometimes, missing a meal, a holiday, or even a little comfort is worth it, when it means giving someone else a reason to believe in goodness again. And on that cold Thanksgiving night, when Marcus helped 2 strangers on a dark road, he didn't just fix a broken car, he mended something much bigger, the bond of humanity.